So yeah, let's start. Today we'll see about how to push artifacts to the Nexus repository and how to pull from there. So yesterday we have seen how to install Nexus and how to create repositories. Hope that is clear. So any doubts in that before we start today's class?
No, no.
Others?
Bro, I have one doubt actually.
Yeah.
So in the bin, we have an access file, config file, right? So where we have updated run as user equal to Ubuntu.
Yes.
So in a single time only we can able to give access to a
Just
single
one
user.
time. You don't need to do it multiple
So
times.
only one user I mean we can give
Exactly.
access.
Only one
Okay,
user. Let's say I gave Ubuntu yesterday. Now today I want to change that user. Simply open the file, change the user, and update the permissions as per the user.
okay.
That's it. So only one user you can give permission. I'm just starting the Nexus repository. It's started. It's running. Let me open this. Take some time, but that's okay. It's anyway. Let me log in
Anna,
first.
here only one user. You said that only one user can use the Nexus, right? But if
No,
you
no,
want to connect it,
no. What I've told is in this file, only one user has to be mentioned. It means Nexus program or Nexus tool has to be run as a user, an user, only one user. But while accessing, anyone can access that. But while running, you have to be run as a
okay,
user.
okay,
Let's say
okay,
in your Windows laptop, two users are there, correct? If you open one program, another user can't open that. It's only limited like that. So you can run as an user, but only one user. But access, you can access a number. I mean, there is no limit for that. So only while running it, you have to define the user just for running, not for accessing. Do remember that. Got it?
yes, Anna.
Yeah, got it, bro.
Let
And
it
the
load.
other user, whoever can access, they also will have the same credential.
See, just give me a minute. Sorry. See, we installed SonarCube, right? SonarCube has some
Yes.
credentials, right?
Yeah.
If I access your SonarCube URL, will the credentials change?
No,
Hmm?
the same permissions will be there.
Not permissions. I'm accessing as that user. That's it. As simple as that. I mean, let's say my Gmail account is there. I created my Gmail account with some password and username, some mail ID, something. If I give you the credentials, you have to log in with the same credentials, right?
Yeah, right.
That's it. Here also, this is just a tool. So this tool cannot be run as an admin user, cannot be run as an admin user. Remember that. So we ran as a normal user. That's it. And tool is opening. See, I'm opening this tool in my laptop. So what is the connection between my laptop and that Linux server? Nothing. And the tool is running over there. I'm just accessing it with the credentials. That's it. I'm not really. I mean, does not have permissions on it, or this user, whatever the local user in my laptop, does not have permissions on that. You don't need to do all those. All you have to do is make sure the whatever the tool is up and running. That's it. So that everyone can access. Internally, in within the Linux server, we ran the tool as Ubuntu user. Let's say in Linux root is there. Does it mean root cannot access the tool? He can access, but he can't run the process. That's it. Running is different. Accessing is different. So do you remember
Got it.
that? Got it?
And now let's say along with root and Ubuntu, if we have 5 more users, then they also want to modify or update or want to run Nexus, then they
How
can
can they
able to
run?
do it.
See, let's say currently Nexus is running. Ubuntu user ran the Nexus, right? What is the port number of Nexus?
SM 808
8081.
81.
Correct. So now the port is
Yes, sir.
running. So let's say as some other user, let's say test user is there. He wants to run Nexus. Will it run? No, because the Nexus program is already running and the port number 8081 is already being used. So you can't run it. That's it. You can't run like that. This is a process which we are running, so it should be run only once. So it should not run. We cannot run twice. If there is a tool or some process with port number involved, any service, it can be any tool. So then it can be run only once, not more than once, because the port number is usable only once. It's a I stopped the Nexus as a Ubuntu user. Then other user can access it. They can run it. But why? What is the point of running? Running Nexus with multiple users. What is the point? I mean, I don't get it. See, you have to run the tool. The
My
tool should
question
be
is,
accessible. Yeah, tell me.
here not running, and let's say there is configuration file or whatever it may be. Here we have mentioned Ubuntu user right in the file nexus.rc.
Mm-hmm.
So if I log in as test user, if I want to modify a configuration file or I have to change something in the configuration file, can I do that or not? And I am asking that.
See, let's go like that. Let's see. I don't know why you got this doubt, but yeah, I'm a root user, right? Hmm? Something I read. Is it done? Correct? I can add it.
Okay.
What is the point of
Okay.
Nexus RC? Is very good. What is the point of this use? Is just to run the tool. Just to run the tool. So this user run the tool. That's it. As Ubuntu user. So when you run the tool, Nexus tool, I mean, so it will run as this tool. Let's check that. So this is the thing. The process is running as Ubuntu user. See here, what's happening is other users, if they have access to change the configuration files, they can change it. There is no such restrictions. Let's say we have 5 users, and test is one of the user. So he wants to change the configuration of Nexus, something, whatever it is. If the user have access to edit the files, if the user have permissions to edit the files, he can change it. There is no restriction. I just told you, he can change it. If let's say some other user test 123 something is there, he wants to change some configuration of files, he'll change it. He can change if they have permissions. If they don't have, they can't change it. So here the Nexus RC file, what we are defining is not who is the owner of the Nexus, not who controls the Nexus. It's just who runs. See, if I told you like whenever we run something, there will be a process in the background. Correct? Let's open in Windows or in Linux also. These are all process for our program. Let's say we open Google Chrome, there will be a process running in the background. Let's say we open something, let's say Git Bash, there will be a process. Let me open this. Say Google Chrome or OBS Studio or something. These are all process. See Windows Explorer. We open this one. That's why. Or let's say Git Bash also will be there somewhere. So here what's happening is whenever we open something, we open any tool. It can be anything. There will be a process will be created in the background. We don't see that unless we filter it out. So that process usually run as a user. See, root is this all this process will run as a root user. But Nexus does not accept the root user. That's why I mean to run as a you don't accept that you don't accept to run as a root user. That's a default restriction. So what we are doing is just making sure the process whatever it is creating internally in the background running as a normal user called Ubuntu. That's it. Just to run the process as a normal user, we are giving the user, Ubuntu user, I mean normal user, in the nexus.rc file. That's it. Does not mean Ubuntu guy, I mean whatever the user we gave there is the owner of that tool. No, not like that. We're just making sure that the process, whatever the tool is creating, is running as a normal user. So that Nexus will accept it. Just only for that purpose, not for other things. Is it clear?
Okay, got it.
Okay. I didn't get it. Understood or no?
Got it.
What is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Understood.
Now let's get to topic. So yeah, we have seen we have installed Nexus, and of course we have created our repository, my app repo, something release repo, something blah blah. So now today we will push our artifacts to this Nexus. I mean to this Nexus repositories from our Maven. So let's see how to do that. First, let's go to our app. If you observe, let's try MV and deploy what will happen. First MV and clean. Okay. MV and deploy. It should fail. It will fail again. It is saying something. Repository element was not found in the form inside distribution management element. So what it is saying is it is expecting a section called distribution management. Due, but in the format XML it's not present. So due to that it's failing. If there is a section called distribution management, it will read that section and whatever the repository inside, it will talk to them and it will push them. So for now, we don't have any repository section. So let's create. Simple, just open the form.xml. This is the form.xml, right? Now we have to create a new section. This one called distribution management. Anywhere, it's not like a specific line or something like that. So wherever you can just keep it. But let's for now, I'll keep it last. I don't want to disturb the existing things. Now I have to open a new section. Let's open distribution management. Inside that I have to define the repository. I have to give an ID to the repository. What is the what ID I'll give? Maybe something or simply it's an access repo. Simple. Any ID does not really matter. And now what we have to do? We have to give a name. It means we have to give some name like let's say what is this repository about? If you remember, we have two repositories, right? What time? One is snapshot repositories, another is release repositories. Snapshots is where we push our regular artifacts, I mean, based on the builds, correct? And no, sorry, and this one, releases is where once we decide to release our application, we store in the release repository. That's what our requirement is. So first is snapshot. Snapshots. Now we have to give URL. What is the URL? So just where is it? What is ours? Where is ours? Yeah, is this snapshot? Yeah, this is snapshot. Just simply copy the whole URL and paste it. Close it. That's it. Let's say so. Now what is our requirement now? Whatever is open, we have to close it. Sorry, my mistake. So in the repository, we have to add a release repository, not snapshot. Sorry. Let me just. This is the release repo. Yeah. So I just have to add the release URL here. Sorry. And obviously the name has to be releases. I mean the name is just for our identification, not for other things. So now name is an ID is in your list. Now close it. Yeah, this is closed. Now what we have to do, we have to add a snapshot repository. Simply copy this one. Just copy the same thing. All we have to change is the section. The section name is snapshot repository. Here instead of release name, we can use snapshots. The URL has to be changed, obviously. Now the section has to be changed to snapshot repository. Correct. So now let me close the distribution management section. That's it. Just if we added one section called distribution management. In that, two sections were. One is repository. Repository is where for our release repository. Snapshot repository is another thing where for our snapshot repository. So we give some ID, some name to the repository, similar name, an ID, and the URL. This is clear so far.
Yes, sir.
Yes, bro.
Yeah. Now, if you observe here, all are okay. I mean, the name okay, the URL okay, the section is also okay. Here all section is different. Name and URL is different, except the ID. I gave the same ID. Why? That we'll see now. Why the same ID? I mean, it's not mandatory to give same ID. It can be anything. But why I gave? I'll tell you now. So it's not done. There is one more step. So we have to open the Maven settings.xml. Sorry. So slash user share Maven conf. So in the settings.xml, so what we have to do is we have to add a new section. So we have to add a new section called credentials because we have we defined our repositories over there, right? But without credentials, how it will push? Correct? We have credentials, right? I logged in just now here with admin user. Without credentials, how it will work? It won't. Let's try that. MVN deploy, correct? Let's try. Distribution management section is there. It should work, but let's see what will happen. See, it's throwing error called unauthorized. See, authentication failed. Unauthorized. It tried to access the repo, but it failed because of there is no credentials. How to look into it? That's why we had to add a section in settings.xml because uh, directly in pom.xml we can't add it. That's why. Now where to add this settings and all? There is something called server section in settings.xml. If you observe server section, simply copy paste this. Just before the one line of closing the server section, I'm adding this. So now we have to give the ID here. What is the ID? Nexus repo, I guess. And what is the username? My my Nexus username. Access password, I think this is the one. Yes, this is the one. Now, what happens is with this, once we save it, while pushing the artifacts, Maven will look for this ID. If anything is there, any credentials are there in here with the same ID, correct? If now the ID is present, so it will take these credentials and use it. If the ID is not present, it will ignore it. Let's reconfirm the ID. Nexus hyphen repo. Yeah, that should be correct. Now let's try again. Let's say if this works or not. Say it's success. Uploaded to Nexus repo. Is it clear so far? Any doubts? We have added two things. One is distribution management in pom.xml and a server section with our credentials added in settings.xml of Maven. One thing we have to make sure is the ID which we are using for the repositories in the distribution management and the ID which we are using for the credential should be same. Then only it will Maven will take it and it will try to upload. That's what we did so far. So is it clear?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now which repo it will be? We have to check. And then we have two repositories and snapshot. Where it will be pushed? How to find out where it will be pushed is? Of course, we can see here. It's obviously it's went to snapshot repository. But this is not the way to check it. How to check it is based on your artifact name, it will push it. See in our artifact name, snapshot is there, right? Correct. Let's open here also. Where is it? Yeah. See in the version 1.0 snapshot is there, right? If it is found snapshot, it will push to snapshot repository. If it is found to release, it will push to release repository. That's all. First, let's check whether it really went up. Come to here, browse. What is the repo? I think yeah, this one. Yeah. See what are this? Why this structure came is this is group ID, artifact ID version. That's how the structure is, correct? Let's open pom.xml here. Let's minimize this little. See the directory structure and see the group ID artifact ID here. First is com, here com dot my company subfolder app. See my app artifact here it came. 1.0 snapshot is the version it came. Below that the artifacts is. So it will follow the structure, the directory structure, whatever it is, based on the group ID, artifact ID, and version. Got it? That's why it is storing like this. See, these are all metadata which will come by default. You don't push it, you don't need it. So this is the one. See, jar file. You got it? What I'm trying to say? You got it? How to store artifacts?
Yes,
We'll
sir.
try again. Don't worry, it's not one time. Yeah, tell me. That's okay.
No, no, no. Got it. Understand.
Others, any doubts so far? Others?
No.
No, no, understood.
All right. Let's see the release repo. Nothing here as of now, correct? Because we haven't pushed anything. Know what I told? Sorry. open.xml change to release the version to release. Correct. Now let's mvn deploy again or mvn clean deploy, whatever. It's your vision. See here, upload it to Nexus repo, my app release repo. Let's refresh. My app release repo. See, all because of the name, the versioning which we are using in the pom.xml, it will push to that. That's how developers also use regularly because they don't keep release unless they want it to deploy. So what they'll do every day. I mean, let's say uh, today they are developing something, writing something. They'll keep it snapshot only. When they'll keep releases, finally all the development is done, testing is done. Now they want to deploy it to the some server. At that time, they'll take it, they'll put it as release. Then they'll push to release the post. Got it? This is how usually
Yes.
we define. I mean, sorry, we push the artifacts to the post. Clear so far?
So each time when a developer execute Maven deploy, the this particular repo will be overwritten.
They'll use different versions. Let's say for now 1.0, right?
Yes.
Next time it will be 1.1. They don't want to override. That's the main point. See, I deployed again now with no changes. See what it is saying? It's throwing 400. Why? Because the version is already exist. It can't push again. Correct? That's why it is throwing error.
Okay.
And they don't. No one wants to override this. That's the whole point of Nexus. That's the whole point of GitHub. So they want to store the versions of the builds, versions of the code. That's why. So now I gave 1.0. Next that will be 1.1, 1.1.1, 1.2, 1. Something. Because they want to store all the histories in builds also. That's why. That's why they never override. Of course, you can override if you want. There is an option to override, but as of now, we didn't add it that one. So that it is not allowing the same version twice. We can do that also, but it's not a no. I mean, it's not required. No one uses that. Got it?
Yes, bro.
So, any doubts so far? How to push our artifacts to Maven repository? Got it?
And I have one doubt.
Yeah.
Till now we have seen we pushed code to GitHub. From there we cloned and we build by using Maven.
Mm,
After that we checked the code quality by using Sonar
mm,
Cube. After
correct.
that we pushed the artifact to Nexus right now.
Mm, mm.
But my question is, I don't want to build the code directly. I want to clone the code and I want to check the code quality and I want to push the code to Nexus. Is it possible, Anna?
Nexus is just used to store the artifacts, not the code. That's how we have GitHub.
Okay. Okay.
That's why we have GitHub. Why GitHub is there? To store the code so that it will have multiple versions of the code. We can use whatever we require. And why Nexus? To store the artifacts, to store the builds. What builds? Whatever builds we got from building the code. So without building, you can't deploy the Java code. So without build, you can't push your code to this Nexus. It won't accept that. Nexus accept artifacts, not code. Only artifacts. Then there won't be no point of having GitHub, GitLab, all these things. I mean, those useful for storing the code. But why again Nexus is required? Correct? Let's say some
Without
language,
build, can we
some
deploy the
sorry,
code to, without building the code, can we deploy the code to Tomcat and we can run the application? Is it possible?
no, not possible. With Java, no,
Okay,
not
okay.
possible.
Okay, okay.
Java code has to be built. That's why I told you there are two kinds of languages: object-oriented languages and interpreter languages. Interpreter languages don't need a code building. You don't need to build the code. Interpreter language examples I would say Python, Ruby. Remaining MS Build, Java, sorry, .NET, I mean .NET Java. These are all object-oriented languages which needs building. Otherwise, you can't deploy. Otherwise, system won't understand what is Java. System doesn't know what is Java code unless you build it. That's why we have Maven too. Maven
Okay,
will convert that build so that it will give us the build. Tomcat will read the build, convert that into system readable format. That's why it can able to run. Otherwise, no, we can't run it.
okay, no, got it.
Got it?
Yes, Anna.
So Nexus is just to store the artifacts. That's it. Just like GitHub, but to store artifacts, not to store the code. So remember that.
Okay, basically it's coupling the code into a library or build to run it on the server, right?
Exactly, yes, correct. So Maven is doing that, not Nexus. The Maven class I told you directly we cannot deploy the Java code, so we are building as a package. Let's say zip file, right? I told you as an example. All the content is in zip file. We use is a single file, correct? We extract it. What happens? All the files, whatever the content inside the zip file, will come out. Similar way here also Maven package also. Maven package. We are like building everything into a single file, single artifact or package. All are same. So that when we deploy that, whatever the server, wherever the server we deploy, it will extract that artifact and it will run the code. But directly, it cannot run the code. It's not possible to run the code without building. Just, I mean, example for Java, not for other languages because we're discussing Java. I mean, the Java application. That's why. Got it? What is the point of building all these things? Obviously, to deploy it. We haven't gone that far yet. Tomorrow it will come. But just for today, think as it is like we're just building the code and pushing the artifact, whatever the build we got into repository. That's it. But what is the point of these all these things? Why we are building the code? Why this jar file is required? Why this var file is required? That will come tomorrow. Got it? For now, let's keep it in mind that you don't know what to do with this build. You just building it and you just pushing the build to that Nexus repository. That's it. Until that point, keep it in mind. What we'll do with that build that we'll see tomorrow. Got it?
Yes.
Yes, Anna.
Is it clear?
Yes, Anna.
Yeah. Now back to topic. We have seen how to push the artifacts, correct? Now how to pull. Let's see that. Pull means simply, you can't run any command like, deploy something. There is no other command to pull. Why we are pulling means, I mean, what is the scenario? I mean, why we need it? It may be a dependency for our application. We need that, in order to run our application, I mean, out of our code, let's say here. At the time we pull it. But where it will store? It will go to local repository .m2. There is a local repository .m2. So it will go there and it will store there. And if your application needs it, you'll use it. That's the scenario why we pull it. Not regularly. I mean, of course, regularly developers will pull if they have a scenario like this. Let's say two developers are there. I push some code and sorry, I push build some artifact and pushed it to Nexus. Other developer, he thought, hey, I need that in order to run my application or my code, whatever the changes he written. So he has to pull it. How he pull it? Let's see that. And how the developer uses the artifact. Uses means how uh, the artifact will be used in the code, whatever the process which he is writing. So that will check there. So first thing, we have to open a new section for pulling, similar to distribution management section, called repositories. There is no repository section. See, we have to open a new section. Go to end. Distribution management is for push, and this one repositories is for pull. Simply just copy from here. Why to just copy here. I'll change the section name. Repositories. And of course, repository ID is okay. Name is also fine. Here there is no snapshot repository or release repository. Both mentioned as the same. That's it. This is the repository section. We opened the section, we closed it, and inside the repository section we have put two sections. One is for our release repo, one is for our what is it? Snapshot repo. You can remove the name also. It's if it is not good for you. I mean, if it is not okay for you, simply it's not required. Just ID is fine because of the credentials. When it requires credentials, that's why the ID. We already have an ID called an access repo in settings.xml, so we don't need to change it. Or let's say you want to keep it separate. Let's say, I mean, it's not a good idea, but let's see. Let's say you want to have separate sections for pushing and pulling, but the credentials are same, right? So we don't need to have separate sections. So that's why I kept the ID as same and one section opened in settings.xml so that it will be used. So that's it. I mean, only this is required in order to pull, and of course we have to add the credentials. And next thing is the last thing. See here we added the repositories, correct? And of course credentials are there in settings.xml. But what it will pull? We didn't specify that. What you want? See here in the Nexus repository, in the release, sorry, in the release we have one, correct? And obviously in the there is a snapshot we have one. What you want? You don't need everything. You need one. At the time you have to mention this separately. Which one you want? Let's say I want snapshot. You have to define the snapshot. You want release. You have to define the release. Or let's say in the snapshot itself, you have 10 to 11 versions, 1.1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Out of that, which version you want? That you have to mention. Again, in the format.xml only. Then it will pull that. But where to mention? There is a dependency section, obviously. Yes, here, see. Sorry, here below. Dependencies. See. Here you have to open a new section for your artifact. What is dependency? The spelling is correct here. Now what to mention here? You have to mention the group ID, artifact ID, and the version. Where is this? You simply copy it. Let's copy from here first. So now what happens is, where is it? Yes. Yeah, that's it. What happens here now is, it will look for these values in Nexus. If it is there, it will, sorry, it will pull. If it is not, it will throw error. Says not found. That's what it will do. So we want snapshots or release 1.0 version, but we want this one out of all these. So it will pull. Let's say you don't want this, you want a snapshot. Simply remove the release and keep it snapshot. Sorry. That's it. So it will pull this. Let's see. This does not have a issue with the original, on top this version. This is for building. So it will build based on this version. Let's try again. Let's change the version and we'll do deploy. And now this will be pushed. 1.1 release will be pushed. This dependency section only for pull. So it will try to pull this version from the artifact. Let's deploy first. So it will let it push. Sorry. It's throwing an error. Repository ID must be unique. Oh, sorry. So ID should be unique. It means we have to add credential sections in server. My bad. There is. So let's keep it like a Nexus, Nexus release, Nexus snapshot. So now we have to open server.settings.xml. We have to create a two new sections. Sorry, not this. You got it right. Why I'm adding trying to add? Because it's thrown error. The ID should be unique. That's why I'm creating two new server sections, because the ID should be same here in server. Otherwise it will fail. So what is the ID? First thing, Nexus release. Now I have to create one more section called Nexus snapshots. Even though the content is same, I mean the username and password is same, but the IDs are different. So we have to define like this separately. Sorry. Otherwise, Maven won't take it if the ID is different. Now let's try. Let's see. If you observe here, first thing, uploading. See, it's uploading to Nexus release repo 1.1 release because that's our version. Same time, if you see downloading our release, because we told to download 1.0, I think release, right? From which one? Where is it? Which we mentioned 1.0 snapshot. Let's see. It's downloading also. So now what we have to see is, first check. Let's check the Nexus here. Release repo 1.1 also should be there. See, two versions are there or not? Are they right? Based on the versions, it will push, and they'll keep all the versions. They won't delete unless I'm telling you, like, the space is not there. We can't increase the space. Unless that time, they won't delete anything. Don't delete anything, even if you go to office, unless someone means unless you got approval or a mail or something. So deletion is very important. You don't delete it simply just because someone said it. So you need a confirmation. Similarly like this. So they won't delete anything. Now let's see our downloaded one. I told where to look. M2 app, repo, sorry. Now here where to check. Let's check com, my company, app, my app. See 1.0 snapshot is here. Let's go. See, and Maven knows this path where it is. So this because M2 it's created. I mean the local repo M2 is created by Maven, right? It knows where the path is, and obviously developer will use this. Where he'll use this, he'll write some code, he'll refer this somewhere, but we don't care about that. We just make sure it's the code. I mean, sorry, the artifact is pushed and pulled to where to the local repository. That's it. That's our case. How we use it, not our problem anymore. So got it? How to pull. So first for pulling, just what we did is like where is it? Yeah, we added a new section called the repository section. Go to last repository section with a unique IDs. It expected unique IDs. And we have based on these IDs, we have added a new server section in settings.xml for the credentials for authorization, authentication purpose. And we have added dependency section because which version you want based on that. So it will pull this version. That's it, it will pull it. And of course, for pushing, we added distribution management section. IDs can be unique, sorry, same, no problem. And in the settings.xml, we added a server section with the credentials based on this ID. That's it. Done. Pull and push. Any doubts so far?
No.
Others? Anyone? Any doubts?
No.
All right. So mostly that's it for Nexus. So any doubts? Well,
No, bro.
so yeah,
No,
tomorrow
no,
we'll.
no.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So until now, yeah, this is some warning. Yeah. Until now, we have seen check out the code, test it, build it, and push to Artifactory also. Next is what is what has to be done after push? Deploy the artifact, deploy the application. That will come. That will start tomorrow. Maybe Friday and Saturday. 2 days I think we can close that. No problem. Got it?
Yes.
Yes, son.
From Monday we'll start big ones, big tools. These are very small things. Monday the real thing starts. Monday the real DevOps will start. So yeah, that's okay. I'm not trying to scare you or something, but be prepared. I mean, that's it. Prepare based on whatever I say on the class. Try to practice on the day itself. By tomorrow, so you'll be forget about it. And do watch the videos. Yeah, the videos. Those are free. I mean, you don't need to pay rent for YouTube on them. So watch them. Yeah. All right then. We'll meet tomorrow, same time.